Luna, want to see what I bought? Want to see what I bought? Want to see the new project? Come on, let's go. Let's go. Alright, so today is a pretty exciting day for me. It's the start of a project that I've been wanting to do for a really long time and just been scoping for the right deal, waiting for the right time to start it. And the perfect deal came out for the exact thing that I wanted, and I went ahead and hopped on it, managed to be the first person to get there and pick the thing up. And this is what it is. Ready? That's right, my first motorcycle build. In fact, it's my first motorcycle at all. I have taken the motorcycle rider's course and ridden a couple buddies' motorcycles, but I've never owned one yet. So this is my very first one, and I really wanted to do it on the budget, and I didn't want to start with something super nice because there's always a chance I'll lay it down in a parking lot or something like that, just being inexperienced. So I'm not about to buy a first bike that's a nice bike and then cause a lot of damage to it and lose a lot of money. Plus, if it's nice, then I'm going to feel bad about chopping it up, and this is probably going to end up being a bobber eventually, something like that. But before I go bobbing it or chopping it or anything like that, I need to start with making it run. That'd probably be good. So we have here a 1983 Honda Magna V65, and that is an 1100cc engine. I wanted this particular bike. You know, I picked this before I even went looking for that bike. I didn't just hop on a deal. Like, I wanted a Honda Magna. I would have settled for a 700, but when this 1100 came up for this price, I hopped on it. And the reason I wanted this is because the bike is pretty light. Like, its dry weight is like under 500 pounds. And so its wet weight is like, you know, low fives. And do you mind? No. Do not eat my fingers. No, you know better than that. Anyways, it's pretty light, and I wanted a cruiser. I didn't really want a crotch rocket just because, to my eye, cruisers. Do you mind? I'm gonna make you leave. All right, that's it. Get out of here. Go on. All right. Anyways. I wanted a cruiser instead of a crotch rocket for several main reasons. The first and foremost is they say that you should pick a bike based on what kind of riding you want to do. And to me, a bike is not for speed, which it is. They are faster than cars in a lot of cases. And for most people, it is about speed. And I understand that, and that's fine. But for me, personally, I didn't get a bike to go fast. I got it as kind of a social thing. I have a lot of friends that ride, and a lot of friends that are just into working on bikes and going on cruises and things like that. And I wanted to do things with them, you know, bike related. It's about cruises and it being a social thing. And so if you're just cruising, not racing and stuff, then you want something comfortable. And having ridden both crotch rockets and cruisers, it's pretty safe to say, at least in my opinion, that cruisers are a lot more comfortable. So I knew I wanted a cruiser. And after riding a couple of different of my buddies' cruisers, I knew that I wanted a lightweight one. So I started looking at cruisers that were lightweight but had power. And from then on, I just got to looking at ones in that category that looked good and were a good base to build a bobber out of. And that really narrowed it down to this. Of course, looking good is an opinion. In my opinion, this one looked the best and looks like it has a lot of potential to be bobbed, which I will probably do eventually. Chopped or bob, I'm not really sure exactly what I'll do with it, probably just bob. But, you know, we'll get there. Like I said, the first thing is making it run, which it does not right now. So, about that. Of course, it takes a certain type of person to buy a motorcycle not running, thinking he can fix it, especially never having worked on one before. But, given that I've built a few cars and done a few builds, I believe in myself. I think I can get it going. And the best part is, if I can't, I hardly lost any money. If you can believe it, I picked up this whole bike, of course not running. It's missing a gas tank, and it's missing a seat, and it has a wiring problem. But I picked up this entire bike for 200 bucks. And other than that, it's complete. They say it runs, they say it has a wiring problem. We'll see, you know, I'm not betting on that, but for 200 bucks, you can't go wrong. If I mess with it for a while and can't figure it out, then I can haul it to the scrapyard and get most of that back just from the weight of the metal, or sell it probably for more than that. But there's a couple of parts over here. These are basically just the tail parts and the part that goes, the plastic part that goes under the seat. But yeah, she has no gas tank and no seat and a wiring issue. And I am told that it's the starter relay, but surely there's more to it than that. He said basically they wrote it and then it got parked a year ago and he couldn't get it to start, and he thought it was a starter relay and tore into the wiring and gave up on it. So as you can see, somebody's been messing with the wiring. Oh, I need a battery too, almost forgot about that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get a wiring schematic, which I've already found on the internet, and just get busy on this thing and start trying things. Yeah, and of course she needs to be cleaned up. I'll change the oil on it, but basically I just need to start messing with wiring and see if I can't get this thing to start. And I don't know if I'll buy a factory fuel tank or make one. I think it would be cool to make one. And you know, I don't care about this thing looking factory, so I've seen some pretty neat custom made tanks, so we'll see. If it's cheap to buy a factory one, then I'll just do that, but we'll see, we'll get there. But yeah, for now, I'm just going to be looking at it and have my buddy come over that's worked on a couple bikes before and tell me what all it looks like I need to order. So yeah, we'll definitely get there. I think that for 200 bucks, it was an absolute steal. And so my goal from here is to get into biking. I'm talking the bike and all the parts needed, and I'm gonna get a helmet and a jacket and some stuff. I wanna completely get into biking for less than $1,000. So, and this ain't even a little, you know, 250cc bike. I mean, this is a decent, in my opinion, decent mid-sized bike. So I'm gonna see if I can't get into it for less than $1,000. That's the goal. I think I can do it. In a couple months, some of my buddies are actually going on a riding trip to Arkansas. So like I'm saying, my main goal is to get into it for $1,000 or less. And then my second main goal is to have it done within a couple months and reliable, so I can go on a riding trip to Arkansas. So I think I can do it. I believe in myself. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can do with this thing. All right, so Raymond knows a thing or two about bikes. He's helping me out. We got some oil and filter and some plugs somewhere. And right now we're just draining the old oil, figure first things first. And it looks pretty clear, there's no flakes or anything, so I feel good about that. We're gonna replace the oil and do the plugs, all of which are pretty accessible. One here, one on the other side right there, and then the same for this. And then what were you saying about the brakes?
The lever right here for the brakes, it pulls the wheel down, but down below right here, you can see this little bracket that's supposed to be hooked up to something, and it's not hooked up to actually pull or engage the back brake.
So we have no brakes front or back, and it seems like they're just disconnected. Same deal up here. It may or may not have fluid in it, but it just feels like something's not connected. Something's not pulling something that it should be, so something else to figure out. But that also did not come with a battery, and we picked up one of those right here. So we're gonna have to get started. All right, so we successfully got the oil and filter changed, and it doesn't leak or anything, so I feel good about that. Now we're working on the rear brakes. Here is the one that was on the left side. Here's the one that was on the right side. Completely worn down. I don't know if that's normal or not, but the, what would you call this, the caliper?
No, it's
The disc or rotor, whatever you want to call it, is not like chewed up that bad, so I'm not too worried about it. But obviously I need new pads, so we got those out. It was a little bit like rusted in, but it wasn't too bad. And now we're working on connecting. I don't know if you can see it. All right, so this bolt here is supposed to be connected to that there. Why it's not, or how they got it off, is beyond me, but that's for the rear brakes, which I would like to have. So to get to that, we need to get the exhaust off, and to get the exhaust off, we got to undo these Allen things, which they're coming, but they are kind of rusted on there. Plus, I don't know why the hell the factory used Allen bolts. I mean, could just use normal bolts, right? So that's what I'm going to replace it with. And unfortunately, they use screws up here, and that's so rusted and stripped that we're not going to be able to get those that way. So I've got the grinder out, and we're going to cut the screws off here so we can get the exhaust off.